Comey will soon testify before Congress about this and other matters. His memo will likely be produced pursuant to a subpoena. The words and the context will matter. But by writing a memo, Comey has put himself in a box. If he now accuses the president of obstruction, he places himself in legal jeopardy for failing to promptly and properly report it. If he says it was merely an uncomfortable conversation, he clears the president of wrongdoing and sullies his own image as a guy who attempted to smear the man who fired him. Either way, James Comey comes out a loser. No matter. The media will hail him a hero. After all, he gave them a good story that was better than the truth. Greg Garrett, Fox News anchor, and a darn good one at that. Well, you know, ladies and gentlemen, according to Politico, Republicans may be reaching their breaking point with Trump. What with all these allegations and news stories 24/7 against the president. Oh, yes, we have Lindsey Graham's getting concerned, Mr. Chaffetz and so forth, and of course Politico, which basically hates conservatives and Republicans and so forth. They're on the job. Any Republican who has any problem, well, now is the time to speak up. Now's the time to speak up. Well, I want to show you what Politico stands for and what Politico is all about. So this morning I went on their website, and here's some of the stories on their website. Today, Trump's intelligence gaffe creates tension with Israel. Will U.S. intelligence officials start holding back from Trump? Trump burned by his devotion to Flynn. These are all on the same page. Trump's reckless Cuba policy. There were others, too. I just couldn't remember all of them. That's your Politico coverage. But now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move back to the earlier phony scandal. Yes, the earlier phony scandal. That's involving, you know, the so-called classified information leak by the President of the United States to the Russians. Those of us who practice constitutional law, again, understand that's an impossibility. In the end, the president decides what's classified, not his subordinates. But even so, the three top officials who were with the President of the United States, I mean, we're not even talking about an FBI. Let me ask you a question. In the case involving Comey, the guy goes back to his office, supposedly writes a contemporaneous memo, sticks it in the file, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Bible, right? Nobody's seen it, it's read, okay, great, that's the Bible. Now, we have three eyewitnesses in the report on this story about Trump leaking classified information to the Russians. Three eyewitnesses. The Secretary of State, the National Security Advisor, the Deputy National Security Advisor, and of course the Russians. Maybe there were others. And they all say Trump did not leak code word, code black information to the Russians. He didn't even know about it. That's not to be believed. Oh, look, they're parsing and we can't believe that. But a memo that nobody's seen, read to the New York Times, self-serving, CYA, supposedly written contemporaneously after the meeting and put in Comey's file for 2.5 months, that, ladies and gentlemen, is worth gold. Think about that, how pathetic all that is. Well, Israel said to be the source of secret intelligence information that was given to the Russians. New York Times. New York Times just leaked the name of the ally. Donald Trump didn't tell that to the Russians. Donald Trump didn't say to the Russians, you know what, these Israelis, they're pretty good at that intelligence stuff. They gave us the information. So we have the New York Times that writes a story earlier, how Trump leaked classified information to the Russians that may give up our ally, and our ally may not want to work with us. And so he didn't give their name. They just gave the name. The New York Times gave the name of the Israelis. Somebody leaked it to them, and they leaked it to the world. This is incredible, is it not? But you know, you want to talk about giving intelligence to foreign countries? We actually have an example that is a real example. This from The Federalist, a wonderful website. Obama ordered the U.S. intelligence community to share intelligence with Cuba. Sean Davis, in the waning days of his administration, President Barack Obama ordered the U.S. intelligence community to share information with communist Cuba. Just a month before the 2016 election, Obama signed a policy directive ordering the U.S. intelligence community to share sensitive U.S. intelligence with Cuba's communist government. despite the fact that one of the top U.S. intelligence officials had branded Cuba as one of America's biggest espionage threats. Oh, Obama, whatever. The Presidential Policy Directive, which was issued as part of the Obama administration's efforts to normalize U.S. relations with the Castro regime, required the Office of the Director of National Intelligence to, quote, exchange information on mutual threats with Cuban counterparts, unquote. The Office of the Director of National Intel will support broader U.S. government efforts to normalize relations with Cuba, with intelligence community elements working to find opportunities for engagement on areas of common interest through which we could exchange information on mutual threats with Cuban counterparts, the Obama directive said. The Obama administration put some flesh on the bones of the October 2016 directive by signing a January 2017 law enforcement agreement with Cuba, officially committing America to sharing sensitive intelligence information with the island nation's communist regime. What do you think about that, ladies and gentlemen? Now, I confess he wasn't in a meeting with Raul Castro or any of the other inbreds, but he did it officially as President of the United States. No accident, with forethought. Now, what do you think about that? Now, what do you think Cuba's going to do with this intelligence information? With whom might they share it? The Russians? Yes. The North Koreans? Yes. The Iranians? Yes. So as a matter of formal governmental policy, while he's going out the door, like he did in so many occasions, Obama releases significant intelligence information and cooperation with the communist Cubans, with that genocidal regime. Nobody cares. Praetorian Guard doesn't even write about it. They don't ask John McCain, nothing of the sort. It just goes, move along, move along. If it's a Republican, bad. If it's a Democrat, good. It's that simple, and that's it.